Hey everyone, this is Michael again, and welcome to my TLC Tables, Ladders, and Chairs review. And last night's Tables, Ladders, and Chairs pay-per-view was held from the SAP Center in San Jose, California. And of course, it's the final WWE pay-per-view of the year. And I gotta say, last night's TLC, it was a decent show. It had its ups, it had its downs. It had some matches. It had matches that I liked, some matches, I didn't. So all in all, it was a decent show. So let's get started with the review. I'm gonna start with the matches that were on the kickoff, that were on the pre-show, and we had two matches that were on the pre-show. And the first match, it was for the Cruiserweight Championship. It was Buddy Murphy versus Cedric Alexander. And this was a decent match. This was an enjoyable match between the both of them. I'm a fan of both Buddy Murphy and Cedric Alexander. And they put on a really decent match. But Buddy Murphy ended up winning the match. He ended up hitting Murphy's Law on Cedric Alexander to retain the Cruiserweight Championship. So Buddy Murphy still retains the Cruiserweight title. But overall, it was a decent match. Then we had Elias versus Bobby Lashley once again. This was a ladder match. We had one of Elias's guitars hanging. So it was, the first one to retrieve the guitar. But Elias ended up getting the win. Ended up retrieving the guitar. Then after the match, Bobby Lashley beat down on Elias. Lio Rush ended up, jumping from the top onto Elias. And we had Lio Rush end up giving Bobby Lashley Elias's guitar from the outside. Lashley ended up taking the guitar, ended up smashing the guitar to Elias's back. Sorry about that, but I was saying, Bobby Lashley took one of Elias's guitars, ended up hitting Elias in the back with the guitar. The guitar shattered. So yeah, so that's what happened after the match. But yeah, it was alright ladder match. It wasn't, great. So yeah, so those are the only two matches that were on the kickoff show. Now on to the regular matches, the kickoff, the pay-per-view. And the first match was the Mixed Match Challenge final, the final match, which was Carmella and R-Truth versus Jinder Mahal and Alicia Fox. Whoever won, they would have the number 30 spot in the Royal Rumble for both the women's and the men's, and they would get a vacation. And all this match itself, it was okay, not great or perfect by any means. But Carmella and R-Truth, they did their 7-second dance break, towards the the middle of the match. You also had the Singh brothers, dancing there also. But Carmella and R-Truth ended up getting the win. And Carmella ended up locking in the code of silence on Alicia Fox. So yeah, so Carmella and R-Truth win it. After the match, Truth says, he submitted both his and Carmella's vacation. And their vacation is going to the WWE headquarters. And Carmella wasn't, pleased about that. So yeah, so Carmella and R-Truth, they get the number 30 spot in their Royal Rumble matches. So Carmella is number 30 in the women's. R-Truth is number 30 in the men's. So, but that kind of, like spoiled the last spot, in both of the Rumble matches, which should have been kept, like a like a secret, like how they always do with the last spot. I think WWE, doing this, and we already know who the number 30 spot is going to go to in the women's and the men's match. Should have been kept a secret. But all in all, it was an okay match. Not great or perfect. Then we had the Triple Threat Tag Team match for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. It was Cesaro and Sheamus, The Bar, versus Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston of the New Day, and the Usos. And this was a good match. I really enjoyed this match. It was very entertaining. It was back and forth between them. In my opinion, it was the first best match of the night. And Cesaro and Sheamus end up getting the win. Sheamus end up hitting the bro kick to Xavier Woods. So with that, the Bar still retained the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. All in all, it was a good match. In my opinion, the first best match of the night. It was a really enjoyable match. Then we had Braun Strowman versus Baron Corbin TLC match. And Baron Corbin ended up coming out. Heath Slater was referee in this match. But Baron Corbin ends up coming out, cutting a promo saying about how stoked he is to be full-time general manager of Raw after tonight. And, if Braun Strowman didn't win, Corbin would permanently be the new general manager of Raw. And, Heath Slater, like I said, was refereeing the match. He was counting down, until Braun Strowman's music hits. And we all knew Braun Strowman was going to make it to TLC. There were reports saying, oh, he's not, going to be there for TLC. But he eventually ended up showing up, of course. So Strowman comes and tells Corbin that he forgot that there's no disqualifications in the match, in a TLC match. Therefore, he's like, if somebody wanted to help him, he was getting help. And somebody, he's like somebody that's, sick and tired of dealing with a crappy general manager. And he says, it'd be perfectly legal. So out comes Apollo Crews. He ends up coming with the chair. Bobby Roode and Chad Gable, come there. Finn Balor ends up joining them also. And so Corbin doesn't like that. Corbin ends up telling Slater to throw them all out. So Heath Slater ends up taking his referee shirt off. Also joins with them. So I really like how WWE set this up. We're putting all the guys that Corbin, that Corbin put through hell, and then we see Slater ends up hitting Corbin with the lariat. And all four men start hitting Corbin with the chairs. Corbin ends up heading back up the ramp. But lo and behold, Kurt Angle ends up coming out. And so Kurt Angle has a chair. He rams it into Corbin. Starts hitting Corbin in the back with the chair until Corbin, came back down to the ring. And Corbin ends up back in the ring. Chad Gable, Bobby Roode end up hitting a neckbreaker moonsault combo on Corbin, which looked really cool. And Apollo end up hitting the frog splash to Corbin. Kurt Angle end up hitting the angle slam. And Finn Balor ended up hitting the coup de grace on Corbin. So Corbin got decimated from these guys. And so Heath Slater ends up putting back on his referee shirt. Strowman ends up coming in, puts his foot on top of Corbin, on Corbin's chest for the pin count. So Braun Strowman ends up winning the match. Corbin is no longer general manager of Monday Night Raw, which is really good. Really like that. So, but Braun Strowman wins the match. But all in all, the match itself, it was, it is what it is. It was just, Strowman getting help from the guys who Corbin end up, putting through hell. So now that Braun Strowman ends up winning the match, he now earns a shot against Brock Lesnar for the Universal Championship at the Royal Rumble. So that's pretty good. Then we had a tables match, Natalya versus Ruby Riott. This was a decent match. Really liked it. You had Natalya end up spearing Liv Morgan because Liv Morgan was on the apron. So Natalya ended up spearing Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan went back first through the table, which looked sick. Sarah Logan ended up getting put through a table. So it was just down to Natalya and Ruby Riott one-on-one. Of course, they still had the table with a picture of Jim the Anvil Neidhart on it. And what was really funny was Natalya ended up retrieving a table from underneath the ring, which had a picture of Ruby Riott on it. And Natalya ended up winning the match. She ended up putting Ruby Riott through the table with Ruby Riott's picture on it. Natalya ended up hitting a powerbomb. So Natalya ends up winning the match. So all in all, it was a decent tables match. Then we have Finn Balor versus Drew McIntyre. This was another decent match. It was back and forth between Balor and Drew. Of course, Balor, getting his revenge on McIntyre after McIntyre ended up taking out Balor a few weeks ago on Raw. And Dolph Ziggler ended up helping a little bit with Balor because Dolph ended up coming out. He ended up super kicking Drew McIntyre. Ended up retrieving a chair, but McIntyre ended up kicking it back at Dolph. And it led to Balor end up hitting the coup de grace on Drew McIntyre to score the win. So Finn Balor wins the match. But overall, decent match between the both of them. Then we have Rey Mysterio versus Randy Orton in a chairs match. This match, it was not that good in my opinion. It's kind of boring to me. But Rey Mysterio ended up getting the win. He ended up rolling up Randy Orton. So it had a lot of chairs out there on the outside that were being used. So all in all, pretty boring match in my opinion. Then we had Finn Balor. He was being interviewed, and he ends up saying, he doesn't know what Dolph was doing out there in the match. And so Dolph ends up coming up to Balor, ends up telling him that he didn't have a chance. And Balor ends up telling Dolph to keep his nose out of his business. And Dolph ends up attacking Balor, throwing him over some cases. And so what is this now? Dolph is back to being a heel. So from the looks of it, pretty much is. And then we had Ronda Rousey versus Nia Jax for the Raw Women's Championship. And this match, was really enjoyable. Ronda Rousey was decent here. I liked how the way she moved in this match against Nia Jax. And there were a few points where Tamina was getting involved. But Ronda ended up getting the win. She ends up retaining the Raw Women's Championship because she ended up blocking in the armbar on Nia Jax. Nia ended up tapping out. So Ronda retains. But it was predictable. We all knew Ronda wasn't going to lose the title. All in all, it was a decent match, and Ronda was really decent in the match. She moved really well with Nia Jax in it. And there was a point where Ronda was trying to get a headlock on Nia, but Nia ended up powerbombing Ronda. But all in all, decent match. Then we saw Nia Jax backstage. She was going to be, she's trying to be interviewed. She ends up blowing past, I think it was Charlie Caruso who was interviewing her. And so Becky Lynch ends up coming up to Nia, and she acts as if Nia remembers when she broke her face. And so Becky Lynch ends up decking Nia, which was awesome. And she ends up telling Nia to keep her name out of her mouth, and she walks off. So I really like that from Becky. Becky ended up getting her revenge for Nia, decking her and breaking her face on Raw. The go home show of Raw before us Survivor Series. So that happened. Then we had AJ Styles being interviewed, and he says, it seems, some have written him off. He says there's no difference between the new Daniel Bryan and the old Daniel Bryan, and that he goes on to say that they're both beatable. And sorry about that, but I was saying, AJ Styles ended up saying, that Daniel has a phenomenal forearm with his name on it. And he's played Daniel Bryan's game long enough. And he went on to say, tonight, Daniel plays his. And so that's when AJ Styles ended up making, his entrance. Then we had the match, Daniel Bryan versus AJ Styles for the WWE Championship. This match itself, it was really enjoyable. I have to say it was the last best match of the night, in my opinion. Just AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan, both of them, gave what they got in this match. And Daniel Bryan ended up winning the match. He ended up retaining the WWE Championship. Overall, it was a good match, very enjoyable match. In my opinion, the second best match of the night. Then we have Ronda Rousey. She was being interviewed, saying, to Charlotte Flair, she says there's an old saying, payback's a bitch. And, she ends up going on to say that she's the baddest on the planet. She's the baddest one on the planet. So that was that little interview with Ronda. Then we had the Intercontinental Championship match, which was Dean Ambrose versus Seth Rollins. This match was boring. This match was boring. You had the whole crowd chanting, this is boring. It was a slow match. The match started with rest holds. And just went from there. but it was boring. I did not care for it, and they got us, hyping up this match between the both of them. After Dean Ambrose's heel turn, which was really awesome and unexpected, and they're setting up this feud between the both of them, and then we get a boring, shitty match. It was, like I said, boring match. It was slow. The crowd didn't like this match. They were chanting, "This is boring." So yeah, but Dean Ambrose ended up getting the win. Dirty deeds on Seth Rollins. Dean Ambrose is the new Intercontinental Champion. There you go. Boring match. Then we had the main event, which was the first ever triple threat TLC match for the first ever women's triple threat TLC match for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Asuka versus Becky Lynch and Charlotte. And this was a good main event. This was a good triple threat TLC match for the women for the first time. Just these three girls, they gave it all they got. Basically, I wanted Becky to win. If it was Charlotte, then I'm like, oh god, here we go again. I didn't want to see Charlotte win the title again. But Ronda Rousey, towards the end of the match, Ronda Rousey ends up coming out because Becky and Charlotte were on the ladder. They were on the same ladder. Ronda comes into the ring, ends up pushing over the ladder with Charlotte and Becky on it, and Ronda ends up walking out of the ring. So yeah, Ronda getting her payback, for Charlotte, and also for her future match with Becky, which that could be taking place at WrestleMania. So then we're possibly going to get Ronda versus Charlotte again at the Rumble. But this was Asuka's night, because Asuka ended up climbing up the ladder. She ended up winning the match, retrieving the SmackDown Women's Championship, and the whole crowd popped for Asuka. This was deserving for Asuka. Kind of sad that Becky lost, but this was a good thing for Asuka for winning the SmackDown title. The crowd really loved it. It was long awaited for Asuka, and finally they gave Asuka a deserving win, and for her to deserve to hold the SmackDown Women's Championship. Was really happy for Asuka. So yeah, so all in all, it was a good triple threat TLC match for the first time for the women. Forgot to mention, you had that point in the match where Becky was on the top, and she ended up leaping off the top onto Charlotte, who was laid out on the announce table, which was really awesome to see. So yeah, but this whole match, it was entertaining. It was really good. It was really good for the first time, for the women having a triple threat TLC match. So yeah, so anyways, that's it for my review of TLC, Tables, Ladders, and Chairs. Thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed this review, and definitely give this video a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, and I will see you all later tonight for the Raw reviews, because apparently Vince McMahon is returning to Raw tonight to shake things up. Who knows, it may end up becoming a disappointment, knowing this is WWE, because in articles I'm saying, oh, this is a new direction. This is going to be a new direction that Vince is going to announce. For me, I won't believe it until I see it. And I know it's probably going to lead to a letdown. So, yeah, so that's my opinion on it. That's my opinion on, Vince coming to Raw tonight to shake things up. I'll see it when I believe it tonight on Raw. But I know it's possibly going to be a letdown. So, yes, anyways, that's it for the video, and I'll see you all back here tonight for the Raw review.